In the Victorian era, you could be hanged for stealing bread, but Julian Thorne committed a far worse crime. He taught a duchess how to feel through a hollow oak tree. This is a tale of love, ink, and the suffocating shadows of Victorian London. It is the story of Julian Thorne, a fictional poet who embodies the raw, aching spirit of that era. The ghost of Amberley Square. In the winter of 1874, London was a city of soot and secrets. Julian Thorne lived in a cramped attic in Covent Garden, surrounded by stacks of yellowed parchment and the smell of cheap gin and expensive dreams. Julian did not write for the elite, he wrote for the broken. The encounter one foggy evening, while coughing into a threadbare handkerchief, Julian ducked into a bookstore to escape the chill. There, under the dim glow of a gas lamp, he saw Clara Montagu. She was the daughter of a duke, trapped in a life of silk corsets and silent expectations. She was holding his latest collection of poems, published anonymously. "The man who wrote this," she whispered to the shopkeeper, "has felt the weight of the entire world. I think he is the only person who is truly awake." Julian, hiding in the shadows, felt a surge of electricity. For the first time, his words hadn't just reached a page, they had reached a soul. The secret correspondence. They began a dangerous game. Julian would leave poems hidden in the hollow of an ancient oak tree in Amberley Square, where Clara took her morning walks. She would leave him pressed wildflowers and letters that bled with a desire for freedom. His letters were visceral, filled with the grit of the Thames and the fire of the stars. Her letters were delicate, yearning to break the golden cage of her nobility. They met only once, in the rain. No words were spoken. Julian took her hand, his skin stained with ink, hers pale as marble, and the contrast was a poem in itself. It was a bridge between two worlds that the Victorian sun would never allow to coexist. The tragedy. The scandal broke when a maid found Julian's letters. Clara was whisked away to a distant estate in Scotland, forced into a marriage of convenience to save her family's honor. Julian was devastated. He didn't fight with fists, he fought with his nib. He wrote his masterpiece, The Anatomy of a Sigh, a book so raw and haunting that it was whispered about in every parlor in England. It was a public confession of a love that was too bright for the gray streets of London. The final verse. Julian Thorne died at the young age of 27, his lungs finally giving up in the damp London air. He died with a dried wildflower in his pocket and Clara's name on his lips. Years later, when Clara passed away as an old woman, her children found a hidden compartment in her jewelry box. It didn't contain diamonds. It contained every scrap of paper Julian had ever touched, worn thin from decades of her fingers tracing his ink. He was the poet of the shadows, and she was his only light.